The 2-year-old progress check and Lancashire's Universal 2-year review integrated pathway. The aims of this recording is to share the statutory requirements of the Early Years Foundation stage regarding the 2-year-old progress check, to share the document Progress Check at Age 2, the non-statutory guidance for the Early Years Foundation stage, to share Lancashire's Universal 2-year review integrated pathway, and to share inserts for individual children's health records, their Red Book. Throughout this recording, we will be referring to the Progress Check at Age 2 non-statutory guidance for the Early Years Foundation stage. This document is free to download, and you can do this by following the link on the slide. To find the statutory requirements of the Early Years Foundation stage regarding the Progress Check at Age 2, follow the link on the slides to the free downloadable copies of the document. From January 2024, there are 2 separate documents for the Early Years Foundation stage. The first link takes you to the document for childminders, and the second link takes you to the document for group and school-based providers. To find the relevant section regarding the 2-year-old progress check, then follow the paragraph numbers and page numbers referred to on the slide. When a child is aged between 2 and 3, providers must review their progress and provide parents and carers with a short written summary of their child's development in the prime areas. Beyond the prime areas, so for the specific areas, it's for practitioners to decide what the written summary should include, reflecting the development level and needs of the individual child. The summary must, though, include a highlight in areas where the child is progressing well, a highlight in where some additional support might be needed. The summary must focus particularly on any areas where there's a concern that a child might have a developmental delay, which might indicate a special educational need or disability. And the summary must describe the activities and strategies that practitioners intend to adopt to address any issues or concerns in the setting. Now, this plan should involve parents and carers and other professionals, for example, the child's health visitor as appropriate. If a child moves settings between the ages of 2 and 3, it's expected that the progress check would usually be undertaken by the setting where the child has spent most time. Practitioners must discuss with parents and carers how the summary of development can be used to support learning at home. And the non-statutory guidance, Progress Check at Age 2, is available to support practitioners in completing the progress check. Practitioners should encourage parents and carers to share information from the progress check with other relevant professionals, including their health visitor and the staff of any new provision that the child might move to. Practitioners must agree with parents when will be the most useful point to provide a summary. Where possible, the progress check and the Healthy Child Programme Health and Development Review at Age 2, when health visitors gather information on a child's health and development, should inform each other and support integrated working. This will allow health and education professionals to identify strengths as well as any developmental delay and any particular support from which they think the child might benefit. Practitioners must have the consent of parents and carers to share information directly with other relevant professionals. So they are the statutory requirements, what we must do regarding the Early Years Foundation stage. In Lancashire, which we will discuss later on throughout this recording, we do recommend that in education settings, the 2-year-old progress check is undertaken as close to age 2 as possible. That way, any potential developmental delay can be identified and supported as early as possible. The progress check at age 2 has 3 main purposes: partnership with parents, action for every child, and early identification. So the progress check at age 2 aims to review a child's development, celebrate areas where the child's making good progress, and identify any areas of concern or where progress is not as expected, so that parents, practitioners and other professionals such as speech and language therapists, physiotherapists or dietitians can put appropriate support in place. It aims to help parents to understand the child's needs and enhance their child's development at home. And it invites parents to share their unique knowledge about their child, family and culture. The child's key person, who usually knows the child best, should take the lead in completing the progress check at age 2, and this will be informed by your professional judgment and careful observation, how you listen to each child, the views of the child's parents, because they are the experts on their own child, and any views that you've gathered from other professionals such as GPs or health visitors if appropriate. All children have the right to be listened to and valued in education settings, and with the right support, children can identify what they have enjoyed or found difficult and assess their own progress. Very young children, including children with SEND, may tell us what they are thinking and feeling through words, or they might use gestures, actions, and body language. Effective communication with parents will be key to the success of your education progress check at age 2. The time between a child's 2nd and 3rd birthday is really important for children and their parents. It's a period of rapid growth, learning and development in a young child's life, but also a time when the child or their family's need for additional support can start to become clearer. When you're preparing to undertake the progress check at age 2 in your setting, it is important to set aside enough time to focus on the individual child and prepare for the process of writing the progress check. It's helpful to speak to the parents of each child and provide them with any information about the progress check at age 2 in your setting. Invite the contributions, seek any views on their child's development before the check, and consider how the child's voice will be engaged in the process. Review any documentation that you're going to be completing, thinking about the child, and consider using the example format included in the Progress Check Age 2 Non-Statutory Guidance free download document. You could draft some comments or draw some initial conclusions which may need adapting in the light of the discussion you have with parents. A very brief, accurate overview is best, so there's no need to include lots of examples or other written information. Have some prompts and questions ready to help build a mutual understanding about the child's play and learning at home, and seek support from other professionals as appropriate. How we establish and maintain positive partnerships with parents is really important in our early years settings. It builds understanding and trust. It can take time, but it is time worth investing. Parents are experts on their own children. Practitioners, professionals and parents need to understand and trust each other, and when we work in partnership we get the best outcomes for every child. This is key to reducing any inequalities. To develop that respectful partnership with parents, we need to understand families' diversity, choices and circumstances. It's important to use ordinary, everyday language rather than professional jargon. Ask parents about their ethnic, religious and cultural identities and avoid making assumptions. Work with interpreters if we speak a different language from the family we're working with. Give parents clear information and check that they can understand it. And use resources that reflect families from diverse backgrounds. Listening really is key to effective communication. The document on the slide is again a free download, What to Expect in the Early Years Foundation Stage, a guide for parents. It's a great idea to share this link with families and to chat through with them typical stages of development for the age and phase of their child. When completing the progress check at age 2, it's a good idea to just refresh and check back in at what typical development for children at age 2 is. We would recommend that you refer to the Development Matters document. The link to this is on the slide and that's free to download, or alternatively you might choose to access the Birth to 5 Matters document, which you can also find just by searching online Birth to 5 Matters, and again that's a free document to download or to use online. So when you are beginning to complete the progress check, we do need to remember that every child is unique and develops and learns at different rates. Those 3 prime areas of learning of the EYFS are the focus of the progress check. However, it is important to bear in mind that all 7 areas of learning are important, both prime and specific. For example, when a parent and child share a book, it supports the child's communication and language and their personal, social and emotional development. Singing and dancing supports both physical development and communication and language. The prime areas of learning underpin everything in the early years and are key to all future learning. Within the Development Matters document, there are frequent checkpoints for guidance throughout the prime areas of learning and development, and that will help you to benchmark against the children you are supporting and undertaking the 2-year-old's progress check for. Are they working in a similar sort of age phase as the descriptions highlight, or do you feel that they're working maybe at a lower level and might need some additional support in order to meet those developmental milestones? Within the appendices of the progress check at age 2 document, there is an example template that you might choose to use to record your 2-year-old progress check, and there's also an example letter which you might choose to use to share information with parents about the check. In Lancashire, if you are in a nursery setting, we are also asking you to complete a welcome assessment alongside the 2-year-old progress check. If you haven't got a welcome assessment early years toolkit, let us know by following the link to the form on the slide. If you're a childminder and you are concerned about your child's communication and language, please speak to your development officer and they will advise on how you can undertake a welcome assessment or how you could use the early years Talk Boost materials to support early years communication and language as an alternative. In Lancashire, we do have an established universal 2-year review integrated pathway. To see a copy of this pathway, you can download a copy for free following the link on the slide. The integrated pathway shows the journey that health visiting teams can take as they undertake their Healthy Child Review at 2.5, but also the early education setting 2-year-old progress check that's undertaken when a child is aged 2. If either the health visiting team or the early education setting has any developmental concerns about a child's development and progress, then the pathway will indicate how you can share that information between teams so that we can have a team around the child and family to support children to catch up as soon as possible. We do encourage early education settings that do have a concern about a child's progress to make sure that the health visiting team are informed as soon as possible, and the pathway will show you how to do that. It is really important that the health visiting team are alerted if you do have concerns, and that will highlight to them to undertake their 2.5-year-old check as close to 2.5 as possible. So again, any support can be implemented and added for the child and family as quickly as possible. If you do have any concerns that a child you've assessed on the 2-year-old progress check might have a special educational need or disability, then this document, which is again free to download, will be a useful starting point for you, a celebratory approach to SEND assessment in the early years. You can also search online for Lancashire Specialist Teacher Service, and they've got a wealth of information that can support you to provide appropriately for children who might have a special educational need or disability. On our website, we do have a template that you might choose to use with parents that will provide you with permission to share information through the Red Book to the health visiting team. So this is a two-way information sharing agreement that gives permission basically for you to contact the health visiting team or Children, Family and Wellbeing Services if you feel that that's an appropriate next step for the children that you're working with. We would encourage you to consider using the templates that we've already discussed within the Progress Check at Age 2 non-statutory guidance document. However, what you could do is include a copy of that directly and put that into the child's Red Book as a safe space for that to be held and shared with other professionals. Or you might choose to summarise your check onto this slip, which fits exactly into the Red Book should you want to do that. So we wouldn't advise that you use this template for the actual 2-year-old progress check, but this could be used to summarise that information for other health colleagues to access. Once you've undertaken your 2-year-old progress check for children in your care, if you do require any support or advice, then please contact any of the teams on the slide there. The early years consultants and development officers can be contacted via the early education settings email address. If you would like to contact the health visiting team, then please do that via the single point of access telephone number or website. And if you would like additional support from the Children, Family and Wellbeing Service, then you can find out all the information about that team on the slide there to the web link. And finally, if you do have concerns about a child at age 2 and about the progress they're making, the most important thing to do is provide support for that child and the family as soon as possible. So do think carefully about what you can do to support the children to catch up. And like I say, if you do require any support or advice, then just go back to the previous slide and do please make contact with us.